Welcome to my introductory podcast. First things first, this is not for everyone, this is only for you. Those who are following me through my webpage, through my videos, and now through my podcast. Uh, that's the reason why I'm not explaining who I am, where do I come from, and what is my purpose. Neither I'm going to be explaining how I became a channeler and all those details that probably you already know. This is just for you as an introductory piece to help you uh, understand what I'm trying to do moving forward. If you remember the last four transcripts, I actually made the statement that I'm going to be giving something for everyone. That means that I'm going to bring different subjects such as what is reincarnation, the art of praying, meditation. Are we alone in the universe? Are we? Is there such a thing as overpopulation? Uh, have we been lied? Are we alone in this universe? And if we have been lied, why? Uh, I'm going to talk about subjects such as sex and on the LGBT movement, which have been clearly explained by the collective forces of knowledge and wisdom. Once I ask, what is all this revolt? What is it getting us to? And the answer was so simple, yet we have complicated things so much. Uh, Another thing that I want to bring forward is my background. Uh, a lot of people are talking about different backgrounds and so forth. Why choosing black as a background? Well, first of all, I want you to pay attention to my words. I want you to listen to me. And if you want to, because this is a podcast, and if you want to see my image, how I react, respond, how I move my hands, my expression, my energy, well, that's the reason why I have this video along with the podcast. So, so I don't want any distraction. So a black background will give you that full attention and not being distracted, but because of what I have in the background. And secondly, because it is very dear to me. It represents the void uh, where I was first in 1979, where I was taken in 2013, and and to me, it brought me so much peace that I want to share that with you. Moving forward, I'm gonna start following with interviews, and I'm going to be starting to post my interview, my most recent interviews, in my YouTube page for you to be able to get all the information where I do not say the same things on every interview because none of this is craft. For example, I'm just speaking just as I'm opening the mic. I have nothing to read about. Everything goes through my mind, and that's the very way that I do my interviews. I, of course, the facts are the facts, and I cannot change those facts. But in between, when I start being asked questions by the interviewer or by the audience, that's where you get a little bit more of me and understand a little bit more about the transcript. Another reason why I'm doing this podcast is because I know, and I also been reading about people who have asked me to give them some clarity on the content of the transcript. To me, they're easy to understand, but to be honest with you, it is hard for me to try to explain things in different ways because to me it's easily understood, but I have to understand that there's a lot of people that for them this information is way too dense. In fact, I experienced that when I was talking to someone. I think it was about some engineering project, and two people were talking about the specifics of that specific topic, and it was overwhelming to me. I couldn't understand not even half of what they were saying, and to them, it was just regular, normal language, and to me, it was mind-boggling, and I couldn't get not even half of what they were saying. And that gave me a little bit of clarity into how many of you feel. Now, transcripts are written for everyone. There are transcripts that are very simplified, other very dense, and I want to clarify that transcripts are not messages that I give to humanity. The transcripts are messages that I receive, perceive, and transcribe from the collective forces of knowledge and wisdom so I can understand their message, what they want to convey, and for me to perceive it in a different way. In this particular case, the message is coming forward without theological ties this time around. The message is the same. It's like what the transcript said: truth is one, interpretations many. And that interpretation, or the interpretation of that truth, is being interpreted, for example, through Christianity in a different way that it is described by other religions like Hinduism, Taoism, Buddhism, Judaism, uh, because their interpretation are based in the metaphor that they use to explain what cannot be explained into words. So as I receive that information, I perceive it and transcribe it. I do transcribe it once I understand it. So that way I can explain it in as many ways as possible if you ask me. Not because of my interpretation, because, for instance, I remember one day that I was doing a lecture and I was being presented, and the presented was told the public, the general audience, that I was going to be sharing my truth. And I couldn't hold myself. And when I started introducing myself, the first thing that came out of my mouth was, by the way, I do not speak my truth because I speak on behalf of the collective forces of knowledge and wisdom. In other words, this is not something that I come up with as an end result of what you and I might find in the internet, reading books, learn from secular scriptures or the scriptures many of us know. This comes from within the information that I receive from the collective forces of knowledge and wisdom, and I put myself in neutral so I can grasp what they're saying and pass it on to you, because my job is to help them explain, because spirit communication comes through a channeler, of course, and the channeler is the one who interprets the message. But in my case, it's not a matter of interpretation of myself from my experiences, but it's interpretation from the intent that I receive. And by being without theological ties gives me an opportunity to open the door to a new way of thinking, of understanding things, and realize that what we had been taught directly from metaphors. And many of us, including myself since I was a child, took them literally. And that is what's keeping us from further spiritual growth. because we are confined to this belief, and we live in conformity with this belief. And many of us fear that by moving away from that belief system, we might run a chance that we might be wrong and we might miss heaven or paradise or being with Him. And that's one thing that I want to make clear. I am not, and my intent is not trying to persuade you into changing your beliefs. And I'm going to give you a very good example. I have a very good friend of mine. We have been friends for many, many years. This friend of mine, she is Catholic, fervent Catholic. She had been following the transcript since the very beginning, because we were friends way before I became a channeler. And she understand me because she saw my transformation. Actually, I was her insurance agent back then, and we became very good friends. And she understand the principles of the transcripts. Although she's Catholic, she have studied different religions. She understand a little bit deeper, or much deeper than many of us understand things. And my attempt had been always to clarify things for her whenever she asks. And sometimes I try to push her a little bit to walk away from this belief system that is so tainted, that is holding people back. And once she told me, Francisco, I understand the transcript perfectly. I know what they're saying, and I know what they're saying is true. But I feel comfortable where I am. Let me keep my belief system, understanding that there's more. But this is the one that I know. This is the one that I have been relating to. And although I know that this is that you go much, much deeper, to as deep as the first movement, and as I understand who I am at the deepest level, I still want to be where I am. Is, for instance, let me give you a good example. It's like the child who is already a grown-up adult, and as a grown-up adult is self-sufficient, self-reliable, doesn't need his or her parents anymore, is no longer dependent, but somehow there's an attachment to their parents, and the father or the mother will always be the father or the mother, although he or she knows perfectly that he or she is a full grown-up adult, 100% independent of their actions, yet still want to feel that they are children of that married couple or their parents. Hope that helps you understand a little bit better where I'm coming from. So my job here is not to persuade you to go into my world and become a part of this movement so you can walk away from religion. No, if you feel comfortable where you are, stay where you are. I have no intention of wanting to change your mind. But I do want you to understand that there is a higher truth. And once you understand that there is a higher truth and you grasp the higher truth as of truth is one and the interpretations are many. Once you understand that there is that one truth, it will take you as far as you can, because then the limitations are being put by yourself, by what you feel in conformity with. It's like the one that, for example, knows that sugar is bad for you, yet we can't stop having sugar, drinking sugary drinks, or having an ice cream bar. It is so hard because there's temptation everywhere. But once you know that is bad, now it's up to you to make a change, to outgrow that dependency on sugar. You see? Or dieting or exercising, we know what's good for us. It is us who don't want to make that step forward and break that dependency or that attachment to things. Uh, I can keep going on and on and on, but at least what I want to bring forward is that I'm going to bring you this podcast along with the transcripts. I, I I exhort you to ask me questions so that I can answer them through the different podcasts. I already have a list of subjects that I'm going to be bringing out, so I am not expecting to run out of uh, subjects to talk about. And with your help, I can bring clarity to those many just like you. So please ask your questions, uh, share these videos, my podcast with everyone else, anyone that you know that might benefit from this podcast, because we all can make the change. But if you keep me as a secret, we will go we will not go very far. However, if you share, if you help me, if you help me with donations so I can bring more people to the table to help me expand these messages, I'll be eternally grateful. Me and the collective forces of knowledge and wisdom, because as the collective force, as the first transcript reads at the very end, we are one, and as you help me, you advance. Uh, this is all for today. Expect pretty soon the first video production of this series of podcasts, and I hope that you like what I do, and with your support, I can do this and many more to come. This is Francisco Valentin. Until then.